Hey, 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 yeah, hey, what a time to be alive. I left them for dead, now I'm living right. No new friends, no new advice. That was high then, but we got bigger heights. We got bigger fish to fry. Bet on myself, then I roll the dice. Man, it ain't a gamble if you know you nice.
Welcome to the Dollar Dream Podcast. I'm your host, R. Amos, the #1 podcast in Dallas, Texas, and we have a very special guest in the building today. We got Simi. I ain't even gonna try to say your last name. A14.
Appreciate it, brother. Ajimatanrareje.
Ajimatanrareje.
Something like that. Close.
I was close, right?
Something like that.
CEO and founder of AMG. What does AMG stand for?
Yeah, man. AMG stands for Anointed Money Group.
Anointed
so
Money
just
Group.
utilizing God's
Bring this close.
utilizing God's given purpose in our lives. Everyone has unique gifting and unique anointing, but just bringing that out of people and then making sure people are good stewards of resources in this world. Money is a resource that allows us to do a lot of things. It's a tool that allows us to get a therapist. It's a tool that allows us to buy a home, do the things we want to do. So just being a good steward of God's resources and finances. And yeah.
Awesome, man. And go ahead and introduce yourself. Bring that sucker up.
I'm Terrence Taylor, man. I'm looking up to Simi over here. Shoot.
Awesome. All right, man. So I want to just start from the beginning, my man. Background, where were you born? What was family like? What was growing up like?
Absolutely, man. Nah, for sure. For me, man, I was born in Oakland, California. Didn't spend too much time there, but was born there. So there's San Francisco Bay Area. Shout out people from the Bay Area. But no, we moved from there to Maryland because it wasn't the best environment. You know, families say, African parents being from Nigeria, they're like, it's not the best environment to bring kids. Let's move. So we have family and cousins in Maryland already. So they said, hey, Maryland would be a good place to raise kids, build a family. And then from there, spent most of my life. So that's when I went to middle school, high school, and college over there. Originally graduated from a school called Towson University near Baltimore, Maryland. And if you know anything about African parents, bro, they want their kids to go to school to become a doctor, a lawyer, engineer. You can probably relate to that.
I have my best friend is he's Nigerian.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's like, I know exactly how
exactly. So I did that, graduated with a computer science degree. And it was phenomenal, good experience, learned a lot. So when I graduated, I started working as a software engineer at Amazon. So I was an AWS cloud engineer, working on their development side. And it was great, man, making 6 figures right out of college. But it wasn't purposeful. Just like most jobs, are kind of clocking in, clocking out, trading your time for money. And I was working from home, but I just felt I wasn't being maximized and being utilized to my full purpose and capacity. And, just with most jobs, you're there for a couple years, you kind of get paid the same. You don't really get a big jump most of the time. And I just knew that's not where I saw myself long term. So since I didn't see myself there long term, I knew I need to find other things to do. And that's when I was blessed to meet Chris Hart at a local church in Maryland called Union Church. Shout out to everybody at Union Church. And the rest was history. Met him in the lobby. He invited me out to his office, and that's how I got introduced to the financial services industry.
So most people that have a software engineering job at Amazon that is fully remote, making 6 figures plus out of college, they just won the lottery.
Yeah, that's true.
Most people won the lottery, and you said it wasn't fulfilling. Can you expand on that? Why is it? That's a lot of people's goal.
Right.
So it's because I'm similar.
Yeah.
My story's a little similar. I got my dream job at Abbott Laboratories, engineer, doing great. It's like they sell you the dream, nice office, nice desk, flexible. Why was it not purposeful for you? Why?
Yeah, man. It's funny you said that, and I don't even put that into perspective sometimes on my end. Like, that's some people's goal. Like, that's like, hey, go to school, get a good, decent job in IT, engineering, and I made it. Boom. But for me, man, I knew God had a bigger purpose and bigger calling on my life. More importantly, I knew that he didn't put me on this earth for the rest of my years to build another man's legacy. I don't own Amazon. I didn't build Amazon. That's Jeff Bezos, right? Kudos to him. He built his empire, built his legacy. So I know that I didn't want to be doing the same thing for the next 5-10 years, look back and say, dang, I've been building someone else's goals and dreams and living in it. I want to fight for my last name. I want to build something for myself. So I looked at it in the sense of, what does the average trajectory of a person in financial services compared to, hey, a person in working as an IT engineer? More importantly, what's the impact compatibility? As a software engineer, you're capped at the level of income you can make. And more importantly, you're not interacting with people. You're working on servers, you're coding, you're programming. You're not really, in my opinion, making a huge impact on the world. You're not solving a big problem. But when I got introduced to financial services, I'm like, oh, wow, I can solve a big problem, lack of financial literacy in the community. I can help build wealth for others, teach people how to make an extra source of income. More importantly, I can impact lives and be a transformational person, a leader and influence in the community, right? I can, more importantly, which was my purpose, was spread the gospel more effectively. I can connect with people, talk to people, interact with people versus working part-time behind a desk.
That's beautiful. I want you to unpack your faith because you're a very faithful man. I've heard you talk about how you study and you read the Bible. And you're doing it twice now.
Got to.
I heard you. I remember at one point you said you're doing it once. Now you made a goal to do it twice a day.
Yeah.
You know, I see how you carry yourself. Yeah. Explain the importance of where that rooted from and where you are today.
Absolutely, that's a good question, man. So my dad, he before he passed away, he was big in our church and the community, a big man of God in terms of being an evangelist, pastor, just preaching and spreading the gospel like we're all supposed to do in our own way or another. So that's how I get from him. And my mom as well. We went to church, growing up. So just being rooted in the gospel, rooted in Christ. But it's not until I went to college that's when I kind of built my own faith and my own relationship with God. You're now in a new environment and everything like that. You get a lot of tests, right? You get some testings. You're in a new environment by yourself, a lot of different distractions, temptations. So just focusing on God allowed me to restore my relationship with him and build an authentic, real one. So when I graduated, I just knew that, okay, cool. If I focus on him, he'll direct my steps. So I just knew, like you said, now and transitioning into business, God is in our business. Our business is our ministry. So through it, if I keep God first, I know he'll allow me and lead me to the right people at the right time to help my business grow and flourish. But more importantly, he'll lead me to the right people that I can impact and point towards him. Because he allows us to be successful and to win big, not for our glory, but for his glory, right? And we shouldn't ever be too prideful to not humble ourselves and give him the credit when he's the one who allows us to be successful in our different vocations and different things that we do.
Explain some of the temptations you might have had in college. Was there ever a stray from God, some partying, drinking? Explain that, because the reason I asked that is a lot of people I speak to who have gone on to do amazing things in their life, they had that period. Yeah. And I think it's important for people like you and me and people, just men in general, to know that, hey, that happens, but you always find your way back.
Oh, absolutely, man. And that's the name of the game in terms of the gospel. Gospel is redemption, grace, favor. There's sin in this world, so everyone's gonna fall short. Everyone has fallen short of the glory. No one's perfect. We're all striving to be Christ-like. Right, so definitely during the time spent while I was in college at Taos University, most temptations in college, hey, drinking, partying, fornication, different things that we're not supposed to be doing. So me personally, I was at, it's funny because I used to play basketball, right? So I was in the dormitory where there was a lot of, basketball players, right? And definitely, obviously, there's, partying, different things going on. So I knew that obviously I was sent to school to get good grades and eventually get a job. But the more importantly is when you're away from family, that's when your character is revealed. Your character is revealed once you're put into certain situations where there could be some temptation, things that you shouldn't be doing, better not to do. But since there's vices, since there's peer pressure, you kind of not want to do it, but you're kind of like, yeah, man, try this out, So me personally, I never did anything that would affect my body in terms of over drinking or smoking or stuff like that, because I value my health and obviously play basketball and stuff like that, but when it comes to distraction, like women, for sure that was a distraction. People kind of especially when you're you're doing your thing and stuff like that, obviously nowadays with people, they want to have that relationship with individuals, and it could also always lead into doing things that you're not supposed to do, so stuff like that. But more importantly, once people reach a low point, that's when they're open to the greatest change. So surrounding yourself and getting yourself out of an environment into a better community help, because at that time I wasn't going to Bible study, I wasn't going to church, I was on campus, I didn't have no car, I was stuck there, right? But it's not until I surrounded myself with like-minded individuals who had a strong faith in Christ and started going to Bible studies on campus and fellowshipping, that's when it kind of helped me get my relationship with God more serious and kind of bring me out of that, instead of hanging around bad people that were kind of, not bad people, I should say, people that were making poor choices and decisions, and now hanging around people who were making better choices and decisions for their life. So definitely going through that valley, and obviously during that time, grades still slipped a little, right? You're not focused and stuff like that, but then going back, things just started to take off. So yeah.
What was your favorite class in college? What was interesting that you liked, and it was what, I'm excited to be a IT software engineer?
Yeah, man, it's funny because the reason why I just started because my parents, they were like, hey, you know, either go to medical school, right? Or you're going to do what your brother did, and he did IT as well. So I did a cloud computing class, a cloud engineering class. That was a class that kind of got me introduced to the cloud space. Obviously, a lot of people know iCloud, right? That's, you know, made by Apple. Apple stores your, you know, storage on a cloud. And the people don't know that, but a cloud is basically a bunch of servers that have created a network mainframe that is able to store a large amount of data into a imaginary space that people can utilize, essentially.
Like a room full of servers.
There you go. Literally a room for a server farm full of servers that has created a network that you can actually store stuff here. So it allows and frees up, because most people know you can store things on like a hard drive or stuff like that, but that's a finite amount of storage of space. But the cloud now allows you to almost, not infinite, but a lot more space. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Let me get into that. But the class that I actually found the most interesting for me, that class kind of steered me to the IT side, but the class that I found most interesting was actually the philosophy class, ethics, morals. Okay. That really helped me a lot. And it just taught me about, like the philosophy of thinking, the why behind certain questions and stuff like that. That was my personal favorite class. But the class that got me to the field was cloud development.
So philosophy was your most interesting class. What is your favorite story from the Bible?
Oh yeah, man. There's so many good ones. The whole Bible is a mix of real people going through real things, going through real trials and tribulations, and similar to what we go through on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, you have the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Those are phenomenal. You know, talking about the life that Jesus lived tangibly on earth. Those are always great. The one that is very impactful to me, a lot of people know about, you know, David and Goliath is good, but King Solomon, man, he one of the most wisest, wealthiest, right, and wisest men in the history of the world. And, you know, his story and what he says in Proverbs, and I believe he also wrote Ecclesiastics, very knowledgeable, very powerful, and it's so tangible to what we're going on today. The reason why there's so many problems in the world and things of that nature is because we are lacking morals, values, and principles that are biblical, that are in the Bible. So King Solomon, son of King David, if I'm not mistaken, what he says in the Word is very impactful, and that's what really pierces my heart, convicts me a lot as well. So Ecclesiastes and Proverbs.
You losing your voice too?
A little bit.
You were losing it an hour ago.
I wasn't, man. I don't know what just happened. Just freaking,
that's good.
All right, bring that sucker up close. Bring that sucker up close.
Like this?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we got
bring that sucker up, bro.
No diddy.
Pause. All right, you came at the right time. We got Sika and Yang in the building.
What's going on?
The connector.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, even on the podcast, we didn't really got introduced like that, but we were just talking about King Solomon and the ties. Is his favorite story.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, wise man.
So explain to someone that might not know what the story is, like just very brief.
Yeah, man.
Why is it important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So King Solomon, man, he one of the wisest men on earth and all the wealthiest, right? Money's long to the ceiling, right? Biblically, right? But what he has done and the wisdom he said, obviously, and if you go to Proverbs, it talks about even Ecclesiastics. God asks him, hey, King Solomon, what are some things I could do for you? What do you want? Right? And he said, he didn't want money, wealth, resources, none of that. He asks for wisdom. And that's super powerful. A lot of times people nowadays want the car, the clothes, the accolades, all this stuff, but they don't want what's required to maintain it. Hey, I'll get it and I'll receive it, but how can I maintain it and steward it? And that's the philosophy of of AMG, my team, my brand, my agency, Anointed Money Group. Everyone has unique anointing and purpose, but we're not taught how to steward it once we receive our money, once we receive accolades, once we receive notoriety, and we're not taught how to steward it and go about it the right way. So that's why it convicts me, because even my pops, he passed away not having any insurance coverage or any literacy regarding financial literacy and things of that nature. But yet he was a PhD. He had a PhD. He was a doctor of education. And it's not knocking him. It's just no one taught him. He came and immigrated to this country. He's taught, hey, go to school, go to work, get a job. And no one educated. Maybe someone tried. Maybe he wasn't open to it, to receive it, whatever. But at the end of the day, he didn't have it. He didn't have insurance, life insurance to cover the home and certain assets. He didn't have an annuity, a fixed index annuity, right? He didn't have those things. And it's like, I wish he had those things, because it would definitely have made an impact and definitely made things better for him when he got sick, but more importantly after the fact, so stuff like that.
How big was your dad in your life?
Yeah, man, he was phenomenal. He was definitely a big impact. He was a big patriarch for the whole legacy of our family. He's the one who came to the USA first. So, and I have a lot of uncles and aunts and stuff like that. So he was able to allow and help a lot of people come to the US, for the land of opportunity, So he was the first one here, went to school, got his master's and everything, got his PhD and whatnot. And he was able to bring a lot of people here. And he just led. He was a leader. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm not going to get this." He figured stuff out, obviously, and he did what he was supposed to do for sure. So he was a big impact for me, my family, my siblings, my loved ones, for sure.
Yeah. I want you to jump in. What's it like having? You already know where I'm gonna go with this. Have come from a Nigerian family, and then coming in this industry.
Man, it's it's funny because we got a lot of similarities when it comes to that. Maybe it's just the Nigerian thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I got it.
Path or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but coming into the industry, it's different. It's different because we were just having this conversation earlier that when you talk about legacy, okay, let me say it differently. When you talk about money, people, Nigerians specifically, like their ears perk up. Right,
that's true. They're like, whoa.
If you say money, they're like, exactly, real quick, no, real quick, and it's I mean, it shows in the stats, like highest in graduation rates, income, things like that, in certain fields. When you tell a Nigerian, hey, get creative with making some money, they're gonna show their creativity, right? Paint the whole canvas. But you flip that and you say, hey, let's get creative on building a legacy, right? Not so much, right? The legacy that we carry on in our community is more so, how many doctors did you push out? How many lawyers did you push out? How many attorneys?
Literally,
but it's not necessarily what's the wealth behind of all that. Right. So in our community, I love it to death. But let me not say but, and one of the things that they do is they promote titles. His dad had a PhD, like my dad was a pastor, very title driven, right? But one thing you recognize about capitalism is that capitalism doesn't really respect titles.
It does not.
Right. Especially the ones that people who operate outside of capitalism do. So when you're talking about nonprofits, when you're talking about government roles, and you're talking about those things that operate outside of the merit-based profit system, they're very almost disrespectful to your title.
It is.
Right.
It's true.
But because we're so title driven, we don't know that there's like two fields. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we talk about life insurance, it's like not every other, but a lot of other races, they're driven by, I'm able to pass this much on generationally. All of my kids are going to go to Montessori schools. You know what I'm saying? All of my kids are gonna go to the best schools. I got a lineage of people who go to school, politicians. I got a lineage of entrepreneurs, and the money is gonna carry forward, right? They're not so much worried about the title.
They've implemented a system. I just realized that.
If you think about like, I don't want you to get like in trouble, but if you think about certain races, right? You never see them. They're not in. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them. They don't have the titles. You got to go into the books to find the titles that they have, and the titles generally are tied to the income.
That's
right?
Good.
So
That's
they're
true.
chasing the legacy, the income. And as a byproduct of chasing that on an excellent level, the title comes with it.
Oh, absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? When we talk about the Rockefellers, we talk about the Rockefellers not because, they had the title. We talk about the Rockefellers because of the system that they created for generations.
Absolutely.
And so for our community, man, it's just one of those things that's kind of hard driving that, like, hey, there's these systems in place that cut against the grain of our belief system, that cut against the grain of what that title that we chase goes. Like I got a family member who specifically told me, I went and got my degree just so that I can say I got it and I'm proud of myself. This person makes $30,000 a year.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That's sad.
Exactly. The degree
I can only imagine the debt.
The degree is worth 80.
They're down 50K.
They're down 50K. But they don't
crazy,
care.
man.
But
They
got the title.
They got the
They
title.
got the title,
Not
and then
the
it's like
income.
this is and what this is what's funny. And I would hear this growing up. It's like once you get a degree and you get that diploma, that's something they can never take away from
They can
you.
never.
They
Who
can
cares?
never. But
That's
what if
crazy.
you did?
They don't want to take it away from you. That's not worth it. That's not worth it.
You know,
It's not worth it.
I told somebody this
That's crazy. That's
one time.
good. That's good.
I was like, okay, cool. You make 100K, and I love doing this with people when they talk about like their income, especially if they're working. Like, how much you make? Like, I'll make about 100K. No, take home. Okay, you don't tell me. Cool. What do you do? Oh, I do this. Quick Google search. Average.
Okay, so you make about this. I like.
Yeah. Oh, so you make about this. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Boom. So your gross is probably about this because that's what Google says. But you take taxes away. Let's say it's 80. You're at down to like 60, 65.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. All right. Cool. So you make 65. The 80 is what you promote. Right. But me as an entrepreneur, I can easily make 100 tax free. Not tax free, but you know,
I know what
there's
you're
certain
take
things.
home.
Yeah, take home. Right. So I can easily make way more than you, working less hours than you, having a different title than you. Because when I go out, people don't respect the title, right? But when I show them income, people go, "Oh,
it works."
You get what I'm saying?
It makes sense.
It makes sense, right? So when
thing.
you break it down, it's like, dude, if me and you work the same amount of hours, I'm gonna eclipse you 3 times over.
Yeah, people don't realize that. That's you. Yeah, what you said is powerful, man. People wonder, like, "Hey, man, why'd you leave? Wow, you had your AWS job." It's like, what? People don't understand, man. Yeah, you're making an impact. You're purposeful, but the exponential amount of rate of return will surpass it faster. The income here in most businesses, if you do it right, is compounding. Income at a job is linear. You're gonna make 6 figures next year. The year after that, the year after that, the year after that. It's not going up anytime soon unless you're tenured. And like you said, it's not even what you're taking home, and not including taxes. But here, everything you make is what you earn, and there's a compound effect to it. Like your income in a business, especially our business, but more generally any business, should be going up. Like you should be scaling your business if you're incorporating systems, you're doing the right things. And at the end of the day, if you're putting in work, you might as well work for something that you get to own and keep. People put work at a job, and it's like, not knocking it, but it's just like you're doing the work, and it's like you're incentivized to just work enough to get the job done, and they just keep you there. And it's actually taking away your time, which is a more valuable commodity. Your time is more valuable than money. You can always make more money. You can't make your time back. 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago by, I'm at the same job, making about the same, maybe a little bit more, doing the same thing, and you're not progressing. And that's the problem.
That part. The progressing part, because I'm really big on, y'all were talking about Bible, right? I'm really big on maximizing your potential because I recognized one of my come to Jesus moments was, oh crap, so life is digital media background. So a lot of a lot of what I talk about is based on imagery, right? So I look at Canvas and I'm like, okay, so this is me. This is what I am today, right? As long as I identify where my stains are, like if I'm talking about painting, but as long as I understand where my stains are, all I got to do is just get another painted coat, fill that in, and I can make this better.
Wow.
Right? So I can go further with who I am today just by recognizing who I am today, right? You can't do that, okay? You can, but you're not incentivized to do that with a 9-to-5. I don't knock 9-to-5s at all.
Absolutely.
It has its place, right? What I've always learned, my dad, or not my dad, my uncle, he's a doctor, makes a lot of money. He became an entrepreneur from being a doctor. He still is a doctor, right? He owns his own clinic and he works and he has 3 businesses. So he hustles, right? So there's a place for it. My biggest thing is that when you are working a job, when you're working, especially corporate, you're incentivized to come in for 8 hours and do your job. You're not incentivized to replace the person above you.
Oh, no.
Right? So you can't necessarily progress. You can get better outside of work, but that doesn't benefit you inside the work 9 times out of 10.
There you go.
And the reason why they do that is like there's a budget.
Literally,
like bro, like your boss has a budget,
and
they get paid off of making sure that they are either within or lowering that budget.
Literally, the reason why
and you're on payroll.
There you go. You're on payroll.
That
There's
part,
a fixed
that
amount,
part.
and the reason why I transitioned because ironically, you guys remember Amazon was doing what? A lot of job layoffs.
Yeah.
That tech bubble.
So I saw people around me get let go, left, right. Oh, see, this guy got fired. Wait, don't he have like 3 kids? Damn, he got fired.
Ooh.
Okay. Didn't he just get married like 5 months ago? He just got let go. I'm like, wait, hold on, bro. Time out. That can happen to me. Am I next?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, hold on. Thank goodness I had a business outside of my 9-to-5 job. And then if I got let go, I would have been okay. My business was generating me more income than my job anyway. So I agree with you. I don't knock 9-to-5s. I love 9-to-5s. The problem is people just do that.
Yeah.
People need to do both.
Yeah.
People don't realize the tax benefits
There
of
you
doing
go.
that anyway either.
Yeah.
If you have a 1099 income and you have a W-2 income, you get to, you're operating a business, you have LLC, or you're just a 1099 contractor, you can actually write off the total income. So you actually are able to bring down some of your taxable income more and keep more and save on tax at the end of the year if you just operate a business. The business doesn't even have to be profitable. You get with the right tax person, you run a 1099, you have LLC, you can have write-offs that lower your whole total income because they count it as both. Your W-2 and your 1099.
So I want to kind of unpack that because I just did that for the first time this year, and it is so cool because it's like
You saw that, right?
bro. It's like,
Oh my goodness. I was like, are you serious? They don't teach this in school? I was like, are you, what?
just start a business
Just start it, you don't-
to do that.
You don't have to be profitable.
So like let's just do the math.
You
right?
don't even have to be
You
profitable.
don't. You
Literally.
do business doesn't make $0.
So like let's just do the math, right? Say you make $100K. Let's say taxes are 33%. Your take home is 67.
Right.
33K going to taxes.
Right.
You're working from January to March for free.
Literally.
That's what you're doing. If you go and start a business and you go to, let's say, a conference,
Right.
you invest in education, you
Literally.
invest in a platform like a podcast,
Right.
you can write all that off and get that money back.
And lower your taxable income. I'm like, they don't teach this in school? Like, why don't people? And then you'll tell people this, and then they'll be like,
you're crazy.
right, they'll think it's cap. Like, no, bro, it's not cap. It's the
Crazy.
truth. You don't even have to
You're
like
crazy.
make money. Just start something.
Yeah.
If you love your job for some weird reason, you don't want to try to get better and improve in other places. Just start a business, 1099 LLC, and benefit from the tax benefits, and write off your gas, your food, your conference events, your whatever that is, because it's a
Travel.
business. Travel. People traveling for free and paying taxes on traveling.
Yeah.
When you can start a business and lower that and keep more in your pocket for the rest of the year, and not have to owe on taxes or pay back taxes. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a no-brainer. It doesn't make
And
sense.
the funny
to me.
thing is,
People don't know
like,
this.
that's what the system is designed for.
Right.
Like, that's literally what the system is designed
Literally.
for. We just now coming to this place because, well, whatever.
Yeah.
The education system.
You can call it what it is. Everyone's been promoting it. It's not.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So literally, ultimately, just because of the powers that be, you come into this place, or
Yeah.
we've come into this place as a nation where it's
Oh,
like
absolutely.
we're frowning upon entrepreneurship,
Right.
and we aren't frowning upon the 9-to-5. Now,
Yeah.
cool, I understand. Again, 9-to-5s become a really big thing when it comes to industrial era.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity for that, but you gotta think about it. Dudes literally like went to war against the whole country
Literally.
over taxes and the ability to become
Yeah, that's-
entrepreneurs.
That's true. That's
Like
true.
the foundation of our whole nation
Yeah, that's true.
is entrepreneurship.
No taxation without representation.
Exactly.
Right.
And at that point, it was 0%.
It was
they were fighting for like 1-2%.
Exactly. You
Now
know what I'm
taxes
saying?
are like 30 something.
Going up to 40, 50.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
So it's like when you look at it, you look at the tax code, you look at everything that our nation is built on.
Yeah.
It's built on the entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah.
And now we come into this place where it's almost like, oh, you're not. And I get part of it because when somebody tells me that, when anybody tells me they're
Yeah.
an entrepreneur, I'm like, what do you do?
I'm
And
like,
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, oh, okay, you broke. I get it.
Right.
Right.
You're not making no
Not
money.
making no
You're doing
money.
a bunch of stuff that ain't doing nothing.
and not income producing activities. Right?
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Okay. You
Yeah.
just got the
Just
nice
getting
word.
by, nice word. It's crazy.
But so I get it, but I feel like we're in that space where it's almost like we got to take the word back.
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like entrepreneur is something,
Yeah.
and it looks like this.
It does.
Like that's the one thing I really, really enjoy about this industry that we're in.
Yeah.
We have a duplicatable system.
Absolutely.
You know my favorite thing to do now? My favorite thing to do right now is I'll sit down with somebody. I'm gonna give y'all some gameplay. So I'll sit down with somebody and we won't even talk about life insurance.
Mm.
I'll just ask them what their processes are. Like, what do you do? How do you get your clients? How do you generate leads? You know, how do you scale? Oh, I do this. Okay, cool. Well, what's your biggest issue? Like, well, you know, I'm trying to look for this. I need to make more money. Okay, well, have you ever thought about, that maybe your kingdom isn't big enough, and so you're not a big enough magnet for the people that you want to attract?
Wow.
They're like, never thought about that. And I'd be like, well, so do a nice little FLS. So,
Right. For real.
So let me ask you a question. Like, how much do you make? I make this. Okay, so in our industry, you're worth about this, 1.8, right?
Wow.
If you were worth this, you'd be able to attract these types of clients. Would you like to know how to scale your income from this to this? Would you like to know how to scale your assets from this to this? Yeah, okay, cool. Let's have a conversation. We set that thing back up. Follow up. I'm like, part of your problem is you go from one person to the next, right? If I could show you how to go from one person and get 3 people out of that, would that help? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about distribution. Got them.
That's the name of the game.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
If you watch any Shark, we were talking about this the other day. If you watch any Shark episode of Shark Tank,
right.
Their main thing is what? What are your numbers? Are you profitable? And where are you at? What's your distribution? Once you show them that you got distribution, all the sharks are like, I want to work with you. I'm going to give you whatever
Makes
you need.
sense. It's more worth their investment.
Exactly.
That's any business. People forget that.
So for me, I love this space because we focus on the very thing that the Shark Tank guys want.
It's distribution.
Distribution.
There's one more thing.
System for distribution.
There's one more thing. Every time someone's like on the verge of getting eliminated in Shark Tank, they're like, but with your mentorship.
Oh, yeah, true.
But with your mentorship, we can do this all.
Good.
And it's like, bro, people are begging for mentorship.
Guidance.
And
Guidance. They want
guidance. Guidance in not just any guidance, a face. Because they're like, I want yours because I know that you're going to get me to this group. I want yours.
Credibility. There's proving credibility already.
Exactly. It's like, I got the trust because I got the company.
Yeah.
I just need the credibility.
That's
for the exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I really love like PHP and the space that we're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because from what I can tell, and I've been, it's funny. I've had people try to like recruit me into other spaces, and I'll sit with them, and I'll be like, okay, well, how many people you promoted? Like, I understand that you make like $1 million, but like, how many other millionaires do you got on your team? Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. Oh, and I'm doing the numbers. They don't realize I'm doing the numbers. I'm like, oh, you got like 600 people, and you only got like 10 ringers. Okay.
That's not
what you want me,
right?
It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Nah,
so I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, there's so many other places that are promoting the entrepreneurial spirit. We're gonna help you make additional income. We're gonna help you do this, that, and the third, right? Yeah. But very few people. I'm gonna say we're the only ones actually that are actually giving you a system.
Yeah,
that's going to make you better and make you an actual business owner.
Yeah, literally, the systems are there. I remember when I met Chris at church in the lobby. Talk. I wanted a policy. Oh, it made sense. Let me get IUL, infinite banking, right? You know, I even use it for my vehicle process. But a year later, and I'm just thinking, looking back, like, wow, like there was a system in place for me to make an extra $2,000-$3,000 a month. My first month, I made an extra $2-3 grand part time. People don't know how much that goes a long way for a household. An extra $2,000-$3,000 coming in for a family, that changes the place they live in,
the car
they drive,
that takes care of that $2,000 rent done.
Literally rent done. Now you have the rest over. It was a game changer for me. So at that point, I was like, you know what? Let me lock in. Let me help more people. It was a no brainer.
I'm sorry. I be thinking about this sometimes. Sometimes you see the numbers so much that you think they're small.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you get numb to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you get numb to it. You're like, well, that's whatever.
You start seeing a bunch of people with 5, 14, 30, 40, 60 a month. And then you tell somebody, like, you almost don't even want to tell somebody, like, 2,000. You almost seem like, it almost seems too small to offer them.
That's absolutely.
Like, even when I'm drawing up, like,
I'm
like, man. I'm like, by age 65, you're gonna make $1 million. I'm like, that number seems like kind of small. I feel like
I know it should be higher.
That's crazy.
But because you know why? It's because your identity is increasing. You're around it. Your identity increases. The problem is most people aren't around people that expand and increase their identity. You're around Curtis Spring. We're around Chris, Matt, Sapala, Patrick, and people in PHP, or just in general. Your identity starts to increase because you're like, whoa, like that should be normal. Because it should be normal.
Right.
But for the average American, it is not normal and it's far from it. They don't even see it. They might not ever reach in their lifetime.
So when y'all started, and you start, in your mind when you first started, you're like, man, if I make $2,000 a month extra on a part-time basis, that's not bad.
Bro,
because that's where I'm at right now. Like the past every month at the beginning of this year, I've made $2K plus consistently. So I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm pissed I made $2K this month.
Right.
I'm like, yo, because explain how you did last month and then how Udi did last month. It's like, bro, y'all are killing it.
Oh, yeah.
Part time. It's like you know where you at.
Oh yeah, we thank God.
So it's like, bro, it's like it's crazy.
He's so humble.
That's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
We talked about it on the reel, so you got to check out the reel for that.
Oh yeah, I got to like and subscribe, right? Like and comment, like and comment.
But it's like, yo, we've helped people make that type of income, and we're pissed.
And we're pissed. That's crazy. And it's like we can't get too familiar with it. We gotta. It's grateful because it's like that's a blessing. God is using us to impact others, and He's using others to impact us, and we're paving the path forward for others because we want to help people accomplish their goals and dreams. We want to help people to put in private school, right? I have a lady on my team. She said, "Hey, Simi, she got a policy for her kids, for herself. It makes sense, right? Protect her family." But she said, "Hey, I want to put my kids in private school. I'm seeing what's going on right now in the education system. I can't keep in good faith knowing that my kids might be learning stuff that don't align with my faith." I'm like, I agree.
That's good.
I agree. They're pushing the agenda. They're pushing so many different things out there. But she doesn't have any other choice. If she doesn't do something about that problem that she has, her kids will be forced to go to public school and learn whatever they teach them. So guess what? She has to make an extra source of income. She has to make more money. Her job's not going to give her a raise to cover the tuition for private school. She has to make extra income. And now the question is, what can she do? She's a single mom, right? Her time's already limited. What can she really do to make an extra income in any business to get it done? And that's why this financial services industry is so key. Get a license, be a professional. You have support. That's why our industry and our company is so unique that we offer help and support to everybody. Greeny, brand new people. Even our own clients. So she knows now, okay, she has an actual solution to her problem. And to build wealth, you have to solve problems. That's why solving problems is so key. People don't solve enough problems and they expect to just kind of get a check in the mail. And that's why I don't like sometimes about us as believers, as Christians. We think like, oh, God is just going to send something down for us. Man is going to fall from heaven. No, He's going to work through people. He's going to put people in your life to help you get to where you want to go. So just helping her out, she's making income, all that stuff now is phenomenal. So yeah, that's what we do here. That's what we do. Help people. So
what's that? The thing you always say, it's like, no job on the first day is gonna be like, this is how you get promoted to make more money.
Oh yeah,
Like there's nowhere.
There's no place that you can go to on day one. Let me say it differently. Extremely few. There are very few places where you're gonna go to on day one where it's like, here's the plan for us to get you from here to a 33% bump to a 100% bump in your pay. Very few people. And the only way that they can even do it is by, again, kicking someone else out of a position or expanding to where they have more. But most companies...
They won't do that. They're on a budget, right?
They're on a budget. The only time that they can even do that is when they have enough profit to get investors involved, things like that. But when those investors come in, guess what they do? They hire outside first.
Oh, absolutely. Outsource. It's crazy.
Exactly.
You said something key. I heard like Google, YouTube, a lot of these big tech companies, they're now starting to outsource their the things that they need to do to like India, China.
They recognize they recognize. You know what's funny?
For cheap labor.
I remember
cheaper labor. It's crazy.
Facts. I remember I was looking. So right around COVID, there were. At the beginning, middle, and end of COVID, there were about 3 tech booms, right? So there was data science. There was not machine learning. AI, right? No, not AI. AI was after. Scrum Master project management.
That was good. Yeah,
right?
yeah. I remember
And then there was cybersecurity. There's cybersecurity, right? So they're just handing out these certifications like candy, right?
Right.
Literally. And I know people who are getting 2 jobs, 3 jobs as Scrum Masters. Everybody's working remote, all this other stuff, right?
Yeah,
Oversaturated. But the teachers, they're charging $1,000, $1,500, $500
distribution.
Yeah. So they're killing
Distro.
it. Exactly. They're killing it. After a while, the economy, America opens up, right? And they're like, man, we got all these people who are working from home. We got to get them back into the offices because they recognize, just like we recognize in our industry, there's nothing like life on life, like
in person.
There's nothing like in person.
That relationship building.
The relationship building.
Synergy.
It just makes people accountable.
Yeah.
Right?
Just the human nature. It's like you walk by someone, you bump into them, and it's like you have that weird human moment. It's like you laugh about it, handshakes, like the things you do.
100%. And so then Elon Musk does a strange thing. He buys Twitter, right? He's the tech guy. And then right after he buys Twitter, he starts cutting it down like instantly. He's firing like 200,000.
Oh, absolutely.
He's killing them, right? And everybody's like, Twitter's gonna, crash and he's gonna go bankrupt and nothing's gonna work the same, right? And then nothing happens. Then he changes it to X and nothing happens.
It's also
and
better.
all the people who are talking crap about him, they go, you know what? He was kind of right. They didn't say it.
Right.
Amazon didn't say it.
Right.
Microsoft didn't say it.
They actually just followed suit. They actually just followed suit.
They quietly started laying off those.
They did the same thing.
But they were talking crap about him. They didn't say he was right.
Crazy.
But when they recognized
they duplicated
it. Right? So it's like you just recognize, like, man, the trend that we're going into. Okay, I'll put it like this. Every business on the face of it wants to be the man of the business of the people, right? They want to be the, DEI person or the go green person or whatever else it is. But in the background, when the numbers start getting calculated,
the numbers tell the story.
The numbers tell the story. When they start putting things down and they get a budget, you recognize, oh, well, wait a minute. Scaling down makes more sense.
Absolutely.
This is why Amazon is going to drones.
What were the people doing, bro?
What were the people doing?
What, the 200,000 people? What were they doing?
They're rolling out of bed doing nothing. Nothing was getting done.
They were using that severance. I don't know, man. Filing unemployment.
They were going to meeting after meeting, just talking about nothing.
Half of those, especially in the tech side.
Oh yeah,
half of that stuff. Half of those people.
They don't be working.
It was just
they be hardly working.
Yeah, it was another version of government. It was nothing but a bunch of of groups and organizations to police conversations online.
Oh yeah,
it was unnecessary organization. Just like we could literally really cut down our government by 50% and no one would notice.
That's what Vivek was saying.
Literally.
He was like, I'm gonna get in there and do what Elon Musk did to Twitter, because it's like all these 3-letter agencies
not doing nothing, just getting a check,
except for policing what's like.
They're just managing, operating.
You ever been to the DMV? Yeah, that's ran.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny?
You gotta wait in line
and
for
he's out there.
I know,
but no, the one in Maryland is bad too. They just lines of alum. Like, bro, they can't hire more people. Like, what's going on here?
But they hire more people. It's gonna be the same. It's not efficient.
They're late. Yeah.
There's no
incentive to work hard.
To work hard. Like well, two things. In Texas, I don't know about Maryland, but in Texas, you can actually order a lot of your stuff, like your driver's license.
Oh yeah, they started to incorporate that a little bit.
So yeah, get them up out of there. But my worst time, I will never forget this to the day that I die. I'm not even gonna forget it then. But man, I remember my identity got stolen. This is a crazy story. So my identity got stolen. Yep. Only found out because I kept trying to file my taxes and it was being held up. So I called the IRS and they're like, "You already filed your taxes." Can you imagine? These dudes try to file my own taxes. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So
hopefully it wasn't a Nigerian guy.
I don't know, man.
Scam.
You know, 419 is just a game. So long story short, I'm calling the IRS and this is like my 10th time. And I'm talking to this lady and I'm like, I just need to understand what I need to do because I've been calling about this thing and no one's telling me what I need to do to make sure that this thing, what you guys are telling me to do works, right? Because they keep telling me follow up next 3 months. I'm like, I'm not following up in another 3 months. You guys should know, like you guys should be looking at my, there should be somebody on my case, right? So I'm talking to this lady. She's giving me the 3rd degree, just like, government workers do. And I go, man, who do I talk? Like, who's your supervisor? Who do I talk to? I don't got no supervisor. I'm like, mother. And it hits me. I was like, she's right. I was like, she's got a government job. I'm paying for her for her paycheck.
Wow.
She doesn't have
You're
to.
her boss.
I'm her boss, but she doesn't have to act right.
Wow. That's crazy.
You get what I'm saying? She doesn't have. She's set. It's just like when you go to the post office, any government role, they're getting paid by the taxpayers. So they don't have to act right.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
That's true.
When you go, if T-Mobile, if you call T-Mobile right now, and somebody really like is really terrible to you, you go up enough, you send a letter, whatever you got to do, they're gonna fire that person.
Yeah.
They're not gonna do that in the government. Who do you go to? Your state representative?
Right.
Send a president. Send a letter. What are they gonna do? Like you're just one vote.
Crazy,
like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy, man.
It's just one of those things. Like when that hit me, I was like, I went straight like Thomas Sowell, like like Milton Friedman. I was like, we gotta get the government down. I was so sick of it, like full libertarian. I was like, now I understand why so many people have an issue with these government. Now there are a lot of roles actually that are necessary. The firefighters,
police,
right? But even those, honestly, if you just privatize the police force, if you privatize the fire department, if you privatize most of these industries, it would operate better. Because you could create competition. You could hold people
competition
accountable.
breeds,
and then give contracts.
Yeah, exactly.
Competition breeds innovation.
Exactly.
We talk about that all the time. If you compete, it forces you to grow and get better and improve. That's why we have the cell phone. That's why we have the technology. Because it's like, hey, the first two, who can innovate it and make it the best? And if you incorporate that to a lot of different positions, it'll make things better.
And that's why the best schools, the best type of schools that push out people are the ones that are for profit. Monasteries, charter schools, like all the private schools,
they got to perform.
They have to perform or they're not going to get a paycheck.
Right. Makes it that's why this economy is moving to a meritocracy, merit based. What are it's a performance based economy. Are you a performer? What are you doing? What are your numbers? And if you don't adjust, you're gonna get left behind. And if you get left behind, it's not gonna be pretty. That's why it's so key for people to build skill sets, get licenses, and things to bring more value to people in the economy. Yeah.
You were saying competition forces.
Oh yeah, innovation.
Innovation forces leadership, forces growth.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Oh man, it's the biggest thing because it's like competition is something that you're fighting for. You're competing for your family. People don't realize that every time you wake up, you're competing for your last name. You're competing for your legacy. You're competing for your family. So now that if you translate that to what you do, you have to get better. You have to personally develop, self-improve, read more books, network, connect, right? Find the next thing that you need to get better at before someone else does. It's to beat someone else to it before they do.
And you also mentioned being first to, because when you innovate first to, not only are you getting, let's say, a monetary reward, but first to, you get recognition. Recognition, man. Hey, I just did like that. Yeah, so why is recognition powerful?
I mean, recognition increases your identity.
Okay.
Because it forces you to now say, okay, now I'm being rewarded for my performance. And if you reward good performance, what are you going to keep doing?
You're going to keep doing it.
Keep doing it. Yeah.
You keep doing it. The reason why we keep doing the same things that we do is because it's being rewarded. Now there's good reinforcement or what? Negative reinforcement, right? Yeah. And that's why, especially when it comes to business, personal development, or anything, it's so key that you continue to get better. Because once you get recognized for that hard work and your hard work efforts, like, whew, this pays off. It's worth it. Let me do it again. Mm-hmm. Let me do it again. Let me duplicate myself and others and reward others just the same because I'm being rewarded for my good efforts. Let me pay it down forward and also push it up. So it's so key in business and anything you do. And that's why we're benefiting from the luxuries of people doing it, rewarding performance recognition. The phones we the phones we use, the food we eat, right? Good food, the cars we drive, the technology, everything, and it forces you to get better. And now you translate it to business. That's why it's so key. It goes back to what you were saying earlier, mentorship, guidance. Right. If you're around people who are pursuing excellence, you're naturally going to want to pursue excellence too. Mm-hmm. And if you pursue excellence with that accountability, oh yeah, you'll get there faster versus, oh, let me kind of do it myself. Let me wing it. Let me figure it out. Pride, which goes before a fall. And then you just kind of never get to where you want to get to at a good rate because you're kind of just doing it without mentorship and leadership.
We heard something from the MD meeting from Patrick Bed.
Okay, what you guys hear?
And I just want to get your opinion. We were debating this a couple of days
PBD
ago.
Man, he's one of them ones. He's my guy.
So you got 4 things. You got love, respect, fear, and like. Which one is the most important and why?
So I'll say this about the MD meeting, man. Shout out Patrick Ray David, PBD podcast.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go because I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, man. Patrick, man, what he's gone through, what he's doing, what he's built is phenomenal. He's definitely paved the way for entrepreneurs, business owners, of people with different backgrounds just to go and win for their families. But more importantly, fight for that American dream and what we have, right? Free enterprise through just working hard and building a business, right? That's been taken away from us. A lot of people don't realize people come to this country, man. People will kill to come to America. Like, from Nigeria, man, I got cousins right now who do anything to get that car to get to this country and win, right? Do a lot of things.
There's some people, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're getting old white ladies to come.
Literally, hey, man, whatever you gotta do, right? That's what they'll do that bad, man. They'll do it just to get here. Real talk. So it's the truth. So yeah, but Patrick, man, he's done a lot to pave the way for us, and he's gone through so much. And to see where he's at now, and more importantly, how he cultivated and got to use this system of financial services to prepare him to what he's walking into now is a blessing. And then going back to your question about what you said with the love, fear, respect, and man. So like he said it like this. Right now, if you have a child, you're raising your kids, right? If you're a parent, what would you want your parent, a child who's maybe about 1-2 years old, would you rather have him fear you or love you?
Love. Yeah.
They're 1-2. They don't know any better. You want them to love you, care for them, right? All that stuff. Now they get to like 5-6. You want them to love, fear, or respect you?
Respect.
5-6.
What do you think?
5-6.
Well, fear, because they're gonna be acting a little crazy probably at that point. I mean, you know better than me. I don't got kids.
Nah, you still want them to love you. You still want them to love you. The love breeds respect from your kids. Right. Once you get over,
there you go. So now when you're transitioning, because they're still developing their identity of you, right? If they see you love and respect your parents, which is their grandparents, they'll do the same thing for you.
Right.
But now, teenage years, 13, 16, 17, they're about to turn 18. You want fear, love, or respect?
Respect.
You want respect. You want respect because if they don't respect you, one, they're not going to respect themselves. But more importantly, they're going to go into the real world. If the real world, they make bad decisions, the real world will put fear in them. Yeah. The real world is like, don't care who you are. Mom and dad can't help you at 18. Like, if you do something wrong, you getting the consequences of it. And that's why it's so key to build relationships with our individuals, our loved ones, family members, friends, and everything like that. But you have to have them respect you. Respect is something that is not given, it's earned. How do you earn respect? You have to win big. You got to win big for yourself, for your family, your legacy, everything. You got to win, but more importantly, display a level of commitment that rewards that respect. If people see that someone working hard, consistently doing the same thing, getting better, growing, improving, you can only what? Respect it. Right? You can only but much respect it. And until people win, and you gotta win to the level of it being big enough to make some impact or change, then people will start to, okay, yeah, I like him. He wins. He's earned my respect. I like him too. Right? But for family members now, when we go to family, a lot of times when we do financial services, we do this business. At first, they don't really, they love us, but do they respect kind of our business low key, what we do? Not really. Not until they see some tangible change, win big, a result. They don't. They're just like, oh, yeah, it's that business thing. Hopefully it works out. But secretly in the back of their mind, they love us. So guess what? They want us to win. But they won't tell us that. Why won't they tell us that? They don't want to put pressure on you. They don't want to be pressure on you to win big. Because if they feel like they need you to win big and put pressure on you, they'll feel bad if you don't do it. So they'll just like you, love you from afar, and say, oh, yeah, keep doing that thing. Or they'll not support you at all, depending on the relationship and dynamic. But that's why it's so paramount for us. And Patrick said it, man, we got to win. You got to win. You got to maintain your morals, values, and principles, and don't compromise. A lot of times people will compromise their morals and values and principles to win. But if you do that, you lose the what? Respect.
Yeah.
So that's why what we do here at Appreciation is so key, and our morals, values, and principles are what's going to get us to the next level. But more importantly, that's why we're helping and serving families, and people are making more money than ever before, growing at an accelerated rate, because we're keeping our morals, values, and principles intact, but at the same time serving and bringing value to people.
So which one's most important?
right. Bring it back full circle. Yeah, man. It's the respect factor. Okay. It's the respect factor. Now, it's different for each individual. I want my competitors to fear me, though. I want my competition to fear me. My competition has to fear me in the sense that not me, but who's backing me? Big man upstairs. You're not afraid of what Simi can do. You're afraid of the favor, the notoriety, what God can do on my behalf.
Wow.
Does that make sense? Because it's like at the end of the day, it's him who has the last say. Yeah. You can work hard, but if he doesn't grant you that grace, favor, and blessing on it, it's not gonna be worth anything. But more importantly, the competitors are gonna feel like, okay, yeah, Simi's gonna slip up one of these days. He's gonna fold. He can't maintain this level of excellence, this notoriety, this consistency for a extended amount of time. Sometimes he's human. But hey, man, it's not me. It's him. So as long as I have him on my back, behind my side, you're gonna still fear me, and then fear leads to respect. So competitors, you want them to fear you, and fear not you, but the person backing, which is our God, which is Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And then family, loved ones, you want them to respect you and love you at the same time, because they're always gonna love you, but you want them to respect you. So for each individual, it's different. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what Pat said at the MD meeting. It was phenomenal. That was his. It was really good.
What was your biggest takeaway?
Oh man, PHP, man, people helping people, integrity marketing group, everything, all the blessing that we received, man. Patrick aligned it to where he put us in good hands, right? You just saw we recently got acquired. We just recently started working with F&G, Fidelity Guaranteed, right? I don't know if you guys know, but F&G has the #1 IUL in the market.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're the #1 IUL. Best cap rates, best interest in crediting, best, infinite, you want to do infinite banking, #1 across the market. But why PHP has been trying to, if you guys notice, F&G, you could only do what before? Annuities. Why could we only do annuities and not life? Our placement wasn't good enough. Our persistency wasn't good enough.
I see.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So as a business owner, F&G is like, nah, y'all not
risky.
Yeah, it's risky. I don't want to give you guys access to my products and services and offering to clients, and you guys aren't, placing products in force, placing business in force. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. You just got acquired by Integrity Marketing Group, the #1 privately owned life, wealth, and health company in the country. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll consider it now. IMG's like, oh, hey man, they're at the table now. Patrick aligned it perfectly, but now we had to. And you guys just realized, past 3 or 4 months of 2024, we've had what? Record-breaking months. Mm-hmm. Paid points, everything's up, recruits, everything's up. IMG's like, hey, PHP's doing their thing. They're holding their end of the bargain. What you want to do? F&G's like, you know what?
We'll do it.
All right, let's lock it. Let's do it. And then now we can do IULs and through Fidelity Guarantee for banking. They're the #1 IUL in the marketplace. Like, it's better than NOG. It's better than North American. It's better than every other carrier that we have access to. #1 IUL in the marketplace. I'm excited.
Do you think it's funny?
I'm excited.
Do you think it's funny how they announced it and the day that all the carriers were there?
Oh yeah, it was intentional, man. It was intentional, man. Remember again. Competition breeds innovation. It forces people to get better.
He's like, hey, y'all stick around. I want y'all to see what we about to do.
I was like, NLG better fix their commission. Right?
Oh yeah, no,
the timing, bro. They're taking forever.
They're taking forever. I'm sitting down with a client. Hey, yeah, Simi. So when's my policy gonna approve? Yeah, I'm gonna get back to you on that. Let me check in with
makes us look bad.
Makes us look bad. Like when I'm professional, like it's not even us, it's the company. I submitted that application. I can't control what NLG's doing, and when they're being slow over there. And obviously, right now we're in a recession. It's crazy because I actually called National Life Group, asked one of the representatives, hey, what's going on? Y'all used to really be quick when it comes to approving or, underwriting process of clients and stuff like that. They said, yeah, right now we're in an economic place where we don't want to grow as rapidly as a company. I said, huh? What do you mean by that?
Oh, they don't want to hire people.
You don't want to hire as much staff and underwriters right now because we're in a recession. It costs money to hire an employee to do underwriting and approval and everything, train them and hire. That makes sense. Huh. So you're intentionally being more slow to approve clients, underwriting. You're being more tedious on the process. Some people who have health backgrounds, you're actually you know what I mean? Which they're supposed to do, but they're being more cautious of it. It's like, okay, it makes sense why you're not just approving people left and right, pushing things through. Got it. So, right, yeah. So, yeah, it makes sense. True, right? And I said, okay, great, that makes sense. So now, boom, F&G comes to play, and PHP is one of the #1 most financial marketing organizations in the country. We're diverse. We have access to a lot of people. We're doing our thing. So now F&G comes to play, and they're saying, okay, cool, we'll let them do life now. Hey, that's competition. So who are we gonna probably write more?
I'm already saying, when they said 1 in 115, on
an IUL.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
On an
IUL. NLGs is 100%.
Exactly.
It's a no-brainer.
Exactly.
It's a wrap.
It performs better.
If it performs better, I'm writing F&G.
I literally, so I got a client right now. Oh my God, this thing came at the perfect time. I got a client right now. I was like, dang, I really don't want to write this, but I'll go ahead and write it just because it's, in their best interest.
Right? Yeah,
but I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's either them or Foresters, and I'm like, Foresters gonna give me the higher commission rate, right? And this is specifically because they wanted like retirement, right? So, TTT last day hits, right? We're with FNG.
That was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Shows the new commission percentage, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I ain't sent him no illustration.
Right. You got to send him an FNG illustration. I was looking at it.
I'm going to show him the FNG.
The cap is higher, better, more cash value. I mean, I got a policy right now in American National. I'm like, I might got to do a 1035 exchange. I got an FNG policy for myself. It's crazy. I use my American National policy.
That's
perfect.
Bro. Because we have...
Yo, all your client, it's crazy because I'm gonna do it when I get home. I'm looking at my client, I'm looking at, okay, cool, what do I got? What do the cash value they got? Like, if it makes sense, and I might do exchange 1035 exchange depending on the client to get an FNG because it performs better. It's actually the number one IUL. You look at it, you Google it, it's research everything, comparison to all the companies across the country. It's the number one IUL in the marketplace.
What's the benefit of a 1035 exchange?
So like for example, like forever, right now I have American National policy. I used it. I did the infinite banking part. I used it actually to help with the car. I did it to just, obviously the conviction level, but more importantly to show like, hey, this works. You can put money in IUL, take money out, borrow against it. I have my IUL for 2 years now. I've been funding it properly. Chris helped me got it when I first got started in the business. And I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty legit. And I was like, you know what, let me get this car, but I could just do it the normal way, or I could do it the smart way, like the wealthy people do in leverage, infinite banking, leverage cash value insurance. Just Matt, Rolls Royce parked out front, use his life insurance policy. So I did the same thing, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty legit. So now to answer your question of a 1035 exchange, a 1035 exchange is you get to transfer from insurance to insurance. In real estate, they have their own
1031 exchange.
1031 exchange, property to property, real estate.
It's rental property to rental property.
Rental property,
you can't do it on your actual
personal.
Home.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, and it benefits if depending on the company, the carrier, maybe this company's offering more, interest rates and higher caps and percentages, then it makes sense. The other thing, it makes sense if personal reason, the client just says, hey, yeah, I'm not feeling this company, I just want to move. It's up to them, but it depends on, it's a case-by-case scenario. And in certain scenarios, it makes a lot of sense.
But one thing that's cool about a 1035 exchange is you can transfer money tax-free.
Oh, yeah. It's powerful.
Like, let's say you're not... say you have you're working with an agent and the agent's not responsive.
There you go.
You don't have a good relationship with him. You call the carrier's not picking up. It's like... Okay, let me 1035 exchange, roll over all my money from this account to this account, tax free,
no
avoid
penalties,
capital gain tax,
avoid capital gain taxes.
Fees.
It's powerful.
And then now your money's growing faster. You have a good relationship with the agent.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
that's another benefit. That's true. So yeah, man, it's everything happens for a reason. God's moving different pieces and alignment. And, going back to the original thing of PBD, he definitely did things strategically. Right, because if we were not partnering with IMG, that wouldn't happen.
Right. What's the cap on the FNG?
Man, right now it's 11.5.
11.5
for FNG,
and NLG was at 9.
It's at 9.25.
Yo,
that's crazy.
Before it was higher. Before it was like almost 12, 13.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, economy things are going now. It's at 11.5 now, but that's still number one amongst all financial.
Oh, that's a wrap. Because okay, so if you look at the variable market over the last 70 years, the average is what 11.5.
Yeah. Literally.
So it's might be 11.7, 11.5, 11 point some depending on who you look at, but that's the cap now.
Yeah, literally.
So that's amazing.
Yeah, man. It's
funny that you bring up the. It's funny that you even bring up the AMG that you bought because. Literally, that's the first thing that we thought. Remember, we had the interview with Anthony last year, right?
Oh, yeah. Anthony Williams,
Forex trader,
current trader.
Mm-hmm.
He's a trader. He's made millions, if not tens of millions. Yeah,
he's worth around $10 million.
Yeah,
out there in
he's always
Arizona,
the
rich part of Arizona.
Well, we got him on the podcast.
Phoenix?
Not Phoenix.
Not forget how do you say it? Tucson.
Tucson,
Arizona.
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's what it is. But yeah, he's out there, and he bought his AP.
$700,000. Oh wow.
So what he did was he first it was less than $700,000. What he did was he put $700,000 into an IUL.
Oh wow.
And then he arbitraged it to purchase his
Oh
watch. And I
wow.
was like, I'm gonna do that with my first like big like major. So got my first big check, and I was like, okay. Met Dr. Gold at Big Event. Went to his office. Went ahead and took money out of my what's called. Bought my Rolex. Wife, she ended up selling her business. We put all the money into the IUL.
That's powerful.
And we ended up paying taxes from it. So it's funny because when you think about the strategy, it's like, okay, all I'm doing is putting my money into the IUL, right? And then I'm getting things that are either appreciating in value, which is what this is for my kids, right? Or I'm getting things that I'm gonna have to pay anyways, which is taxes, and I'm making money off of the taxes that I paid now.
Oh wow. That's good.
I'm paying it from the IUL, which is going to have uninterrupted
interest, compounding interest, man. It's
so like every tax season, I'm excited now. I'm just going to pay it from this. It doesn't matter. Like
it's powerful, man.
It's going to come back in interest.
It literally.
Like, I love it.
Man.
So it's just one of those, like when you said that, I was like, man, that's one of my favorite strategies to tell people about.
Bro, it's crazy.
Like one of the favorite things. I'm like, look, you got a house. You're going to have to pay taxes anyways.
Right.
Just go ahead and pay it from your IUL.
Literally.
Like you're going to refinance. Okay, cool. Go ahead and refinance. Put in IUL first.
Right.
And then go do whatever you want to do with it, especially with people who are investors. I'm like, look.
That key step is key.
I'm like, so money is just, you know how people say like money is energy? It's just transfer.
Oh, literally.
That's all it is.
Yeah, money, fiat currency.
I mean, that's one of the laws of thermodynamics. Energy isn't created, it's transferred.
Exactly.
It's true.
And the person who has it at the time that you need it has the power. Right?
Yeah, cash is king.
So instead of having the money in your
bank account,
now, for people who this is like advanced strategy, so this is not like average everyday citizens.
Oh
yeah, I hate when people say, "Well, you could just put in $100 and you'll get."
Oh no,
your own bank. I'm like, they're lying to you.
I ain't not.
I'm like, they're lying to you. I tell my clients already. I'm like, look, for me to even talk to you about this, you got to make this much. So if you can make this much, then we can talk about it. If not, we're going to talk about an alternative, right? We're still going to help you out and get you some type of
coverage.
Yeah, we're going to give you coverage. We might give you some cash value, maybe like a UO or something like that, something smaller, whole life, whatever. But when we're talking about the IULs, this is the Ferrari, so you got to be able to afford it.
You got to put premium gas in a Ferrari.
Exactly.
So you got to got premium funding into your
IUL. You have to. You have to. So long story short, when I'm talking to the people who can do that, I'm like, all right, well, what's your biggest issue? Well, my biggest issue is capital. I can't get access to it quick enough because the banks are holding it, things like that. The investors. I'm like, okay, well, how about you do this? How about you just take the capital out of where they have it right now, and then you just put it into the IUL because the insurance company is going to give you access to it a lot quicker, and you can get up to 90% of it. You're going to be flipping. You're going to be doing this deal in the next 90 days or the next 30 to 60 days. Usually what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to get back there.
Absolutely.
So just put it over here. Now you have access to it. So instead of having it sitting right here where they're going to like ask you all of these questions, especially when the economy and interest rates are going up, they don't want to lend out the money.
Don't.
You just put it over here.
It's a no-brainer, man.
Where do investors keep their money in like a holding spot?
So, bank account, CD, money market, bonds. Sometimes bonds kind of you can't really touch it. Yeah, and that's bad. It's a fix. And 3 days money grows, fixed variable index. It's still fixed. It's not outpaced. Anything that doesn't outpace inflation is fixed.
It's the same thing as a salary.
Literally,
it's a fixed, small
linear. It's linear. Yeah, linear. High yield savings account. Like I'm not saying high yield savings account is bad, but it's not outpacing inflation. So it's just getting just fixed linear growth. Right. And it's like you might as well. Like it's crazy because the one thing I would say this NOG National Life Group, they have that. I don't know if you guys heard of the balance sheet rider. Balance sheet rider, game changer. And that's something I'm gonna look into FNG if they have something equivalent where someone can dump in a large lump sum of cash and IUL, front load it, and then boom, take out that same roughly the same amount that same week thanks to balance sheet rider. And I have a couple clients that do that. Dumped in $50K into IUL, took out $45K that next week. Like we're talking about liquid, and people don't understand how liquid insurance is. They think it's like, I gotta wait, no, literally click of a button, boom. Hey, I need to take out a loan, borrow against 40K, boom, out, in and out that quick. And now it's like as if you dumped it in there, but like you said, the key step is you're getting uninterrupted interest on it. But now you have that cash to go back and do what you want to do with it.
Your money's in 2 places at once.
2 places at once. Arbitrage, literally.
And if you're a licensed agent, in 3 places.
You got
exactly. And even more important than that, like not more important. as important.
Oh yeah.
Like just like an additive, because every single one of these guys wants to play in the money game.
Mm.
I don't know a single realtor. I don't know. Let me not say realtor because I know a lot of them.
Right.
So, I don't know a single investor,
Mm.
right, that doesn't want to eventually go into the lending game,
Mm.
right? Because that's where the money is.
Exactly.
Right. If I can lend you out, let's say that you got a property and you need, it's worth $100,000, right?
Yeah.
If I can lend you $100,000,
charge you interest,
and charge you interest on it, and I don't gotta mow the lawn, I don't gotta worry about renters, I don't gotta worry about fixing nothing.
That's
right.
real. That's real passive.
That's the passive income,
bro. Is it legal to just like dump a bunch of money in an IUL and then be an investor and then lend that money out via an IUL?
It's not illegal.
That's actually what they do. That
exactly.
No, but that's what the banks do. Actually,
no, it's exactly what they do.
They have billions of dollars in insurance policies. Then you raise your interest rate, and then you're making. No, that's literally what the banks do. That's infinite bank. That's what they do.
This is it's so freaking crazy.
That's exactly
one of the first.
That's literally exactly what the banks do.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So we can literally go do that.
That's the thing. That's why this license is so powerful. People don't realize, like, bro, you can do stuff that the uber wealthy do on a day-to-day basis and help set that up. I have a client who literally does something very similar. He won't use it for like mortgage loans and stuff like that, but he'll use it for Turo, rent cars and do other stuff and lend out money. So it's like you become your own bank. It's a no-brainer. People don't understand, like, this is what the wealthy are doing. This is how they get ahead. Bank of America, 20-something billion in insurance assets.
Yeah, Bank of America's number one.
Then you got Chase, and then Wells Fargo. It's like, bro, like, why don't you follow suit and do that? But not like you said, not putting $100 a month, $200. No, if you can afford to put more in there, do it. But you also want to deal with the right agent who's proficient in structuring the policy. Well, we do have a lot out there, people who kind of don't know what they're doing sometimes and kind of mess it up or botch it or kind of don't do it the right way or educate the client properly. You have that out there, but that's why you got to deal with, solid licensed professionals who have experience, who know what they're doing.
And there are agents out there that are just focusing on commission,
not the mission, right?
Right. So if when you focus on the client to maximize their cash value and become their own bank,
get the money on the back end.
The agent actually makes less commission
money up front.
So up front, but if you build a real relationship with
they
the
should
client,
be sending referrals.
Which is the crazy thing about IULs. Like, you're actually de-incentivized to write one if you write it properly. You're de-incentivized to write one if you write it properly. Like, there's been IULs where I'm like, oh man, I wish.
$1,000 a month. Like, bro,
I'm like, dang, man, 12,000 points.
2,400. I'm like, oh man, what's the target on this?
They got you.
Hey, go ahead and sign it quick before I change my mind, right? like, because I'm like, man, there's so much potential in this thing, and I'm not gonna make as much if I just give you a term policy.
But I will say this. So I ran across a client, not a client, but someone at a networking event, and just kind of chopping it up with her, and she was like, "Oh, you do IULs? I got one. I don't like it. I'm not satisfied with it." I was like, "Oh, how come?" Well, she goes, "Well, I'm not getting as much cash value as I thought." And she goes, "I got all these riders." And I was like, well, what was the goal? Like, trying to understand better. And it's like, well, the agent was structuring it to make more money via like riders and things like that. And then the amount she was putting in was not going towards the cash value and compounding interest.
Paying for the cost of insurance.
Right. So what's happening now is she's like, I want to get out of it. So if she wants to get out of it, that agent just is going to lose on that client, maybe get a charge back. And it's like, hey,
bad rapport.
But it's like, if you do the wrong thing, people are going to find out, and then you're going to lose credibility, and they're going to not.
I got a guy right now. Now, granted, one thing I've learned about this space is that you can lay out everything. I got a client right now, actually. I sent her 3 illustrations. I've talked to her at least 6 times, breaking them down, explaining to her, like, this is what it is, this is what you're gonna get, this is what your family's gonna get, boom, boom, boom. Even did a follow-up, hey, congratulations, you're actually gonna get more because you're rated better, right? Your premium, boom. Had the conversation, did everything that I'm supposed to do, and more, in laying out the benefits of this thing. The next week, she's like, what is this again? You get what I'm saying? And this is after she signed all the documents saying that she understands what it is. Yeah. So for me, it's not that sometimes I don't like laying it out to the agent, because there are instances where it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure this agent explained this to you, but because they didn't prioritize your current need. Like they're betting on your future ability to do something.
They oversold.
They oversold.
Happens all the time.
So I got a guy right now. He's part of my team. He's he's in real estate. He's a referral guy. He was like, yeah, I got an IU. I'll cancel it because I found out that every quarter I got to pay $3,000. And I was like, oh well, one or two things happened. Either you kind of thought that you'd come up with $3,000,
right?
But he said he didn't know. So I got to take his word for it. So either the agent was like, hey, you don't have the money now? Cool. You'll have the money in 3 months.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy.
Right. Or you just said, like, I'll have the money in 3 months. But regardless, you signed the document saying that in 3 months you're going to have it. You just didn't understand what he was saying.
Right.
You just probably heard, I don't have to pay for 3 months.
That's good.
You get what I'm saying?
Most likely.
So that's the one thing that I feel like there's like an issue on both ends. Coming from some of the backgrounds that I came from, I'm always, generally been like client facing. I noticed that people, how they say that people like will write a negative review before they write a positive one.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing. Like they'll key in on all the things that they want to hear first. And then after they've signed all the documents, then they'll be like, well, what is this? Once the negativity hits, right?
Yeah.
So it's really like incumbent upon us to make sure that we're consistently
gotta follow up,
like,
build a relationship.
What's going on? Let me kind of tell you where you're at, things like that, checking in on them so that they understand that, hey, we do want to prioritize the relationship and they fully understand what's going on. There was one thing I did want to say, and I just thought about this when we were talking about the whole infinite banking, becoming the bank, right? Like lending piece. It's crazy because when you think about the banks, right? They got FDIC insurance.
I got insurance. I don't have money already.
Exactly, right? Well, when you think about a IUL, right? The money that you're borrowing from isn't your money. That's the life insurance carrier's money.
Right.
Right. So the money that you actually borrow from and you use to do whatever you're using, it's insured, FDIC insured, not really FDIC insured, but it's insured by the money that's in the policy and the death benefits. So we have all the same, not all, but we have relatively the same or similar securities that banks have. We have the same opportunities that banks have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We just have I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, man, there's so much just for a license. Like there's so much freedom that you can create. That's what I really enjoy about. So I talk about this all the time with realtors. Like I'm asking, like, why did you go to your license? And financial advisors, like financial advisors. I got my issues with the financial advice space, but
they scamming people, bro. I'll say blank. Financial advisors are scam. Like, no, let me stop.
He's Nigerian. Isn't like, no. Facts. We know scams. But no, like the fees are killing people.
Insane, bro.
And my biggest thing is the reason why
it's like what,
I don't
2%
necessarily
a year?
say scam. I say that
the market does 2%. Nothing happens.
I say the people who are actually. I say the companies are more so on leaning towards the scam side than the people.
Well, the companies are there to make
money. They're for profit.
They're for profit. And the reason I say this is because I did day trading, right? Studied options trading. And when I understood how the market worked, right? How cyclical it is, and specifically how you can make money in any market, literally. Oh, yeah. You can short the market all day when the economy's bad.
Good or
Not
bad.
all day, but you get on the point. You can short the market when the economy's bad, when everything's going, when you're in a bear market, when you're in a bull market, you buy low, sell high, you can do all that good stuff, right? Now, here's my biggest issue. If that's the case, then that means that the brokerages, not Fidelity, TD America, Charles Schwab, Edward Jones, all of them, they know that you can do that, right? Unless they're idiots. They know that those are strategies that are out there.
They're out there.
Right? But when it comes to their clients' portfolios, it's like, oh, we're in a bad market. It's okay. The market's cyclical. You're going to make your money up later.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? All the while, in their portfolios, they're shorting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your
it's
money
crazy.
that they're managing,
they're lying to you.
That's my point.
They're saying, no, keep your money in. It's gonna go back up. It's gonna go back up. But they're
shorting the market.
That's like what
they're telling. Sorry. You know what the most? I believe it still is. You know what the most shorted stock on the market is?
What?
Tesla.
You You know what they'll put in your portfolio while they're betting on Tesla to lose?
Tesla.
What's that one company that was saying how you should never buy Bitcoin, you should never buy crypto, and then they
Chase.
It was Chase.
Chase literally.
They put out
Jamie Dimon went up there and said you shouldn't. It's a scam. And the whole market dang near
went
crashed.
And spent $100 million on Bitcoin or some hundreds of millions and bought.
As soon as it went low, he bought all of it. I'm telling this is when I saw that, I was like,
manipulation
now
was crazy.
Exactly, because when your 401k goes down and he's telling you to just wait, it's gonna come back up, they still charge you 2 to 3%. When it's going up, they still charge you 2 to 3%. Meanwhile, in their own portfolio, they've been shorting everything that you've been buying, that you've been holding on to.
They've been messing people bad, man.
One other thing that was crazy that I experienced was I had a old 401k from an old job. And, I rolled it over into a fixed index annuity. And there was about like 17K in there. And so, I'm in the process of rolling it over. I'm calling the carrier and hey, trying to transfer the funds, yada, yada. And it comes to find out that I was not fully vested. So you had to be with the company for 5 years to be fully vested for you to get 100% of what they matched you. So since I wasn't fully vested, when I tried to roll it over, it was like $5,000 went back to my company. So they say, hey, we're gonna match you a 401k at 4-6%, but in the fine print is that you have to be here for 5 years to be fully vested,
bro.
So and this is from an old job, like not even the current job. It's an old job, and I'm like,
wow,
bro.
But the numbers when you look at your account,
it's showing 17.
That's crazy.
So it's like, bro, they're lying to you over and like everyone, because everyone's trying to get your money because it's their business. It's not your business.
They're financially incentivized to match you as a write-off.
Exactly, and that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's a tax deduction for the business. It's crazy.
And that's what I tell people. Here's the funny thing, like with and this is not even conspiracy. This is just talking about scams. That's what it is, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm like, there's two things happening. The government and corporations and government, corporations, Wall Street, really government and Wall Street, decided that they wanted to come together with an agreement, right? It's like, okay, you guys are going to be able to get the working class, right? Because the working class doesn't necessarily trust us with the retirement, right? No one really trusts Social Security, right? But we're going to make it to where you have supplemental income with Social Security, which is your 401k. All right. We're going to lock you guys in until you're 59 and a half. Right? Now, we're incentivized, Mr. Government is incentivized to lock you in that long because in the next 20 to 35 years, taxes are going to go up. So we're betting on you lasting long enough to pay higher taxes.
Didn't we just learn at the conference the Tax Act expires in 2025?
And what that's going to do is revert back to what it was back in 2017, and it was higher. And now they also have the option to raise them even more based on and how do they choose to raise taxes?
The economy,
debt, inflation, economy,
war.
And so where are we at right now? Debt, inflation, economy. So they're depending on who goes in office,
taxes.
They're gonna
they finessing people, bro.
So they're finesse, man. Like I'm telling you,
and people just don't know.
The American government is ran by Nigerians.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised. They got somebody up in there, man.
Oh, not just a gamble, like.
Oh man, it's crazy.
But no, so it is, but it's crazy because at the end of the day, they're guaranteed higher. They're guaranteed higher taxes on two accounts. The first account is they're guaranteed on the tax rate that they're going to tax you on. It's going to go up. Period. Right. But they're also guaranteed on inflation. And the crazy thing about people don't understand this whole thing about inflation. When your food costs go up, even though the sales tax doesn't go up so much, because your food went up, you're paying higher taxes. So if your dollar
on
size
the amount of the
amount, so if your dollar size burger goes up to $2, doesn't matter if the 7% is on the $1. The 7% is on the $2. They're making more money. That's what they
They're
mean by the hidden
incentivized
tax.
for inflation.
That's my point.
Bro, I just realized that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they mean by hidden tax.
Federal Reserve, they printing that money.
So you
they print money. Like, what are we talking about?
You think this is why COVID was such a big deal? This is why no one was when I remember doing a video on this. I was like, man, I got this. I think it was like maybe $1,500, something like that, maybe a little more than that. I was like,
that's
man,
stimmy. That's stimmy.
Yeah, that's stimmy. I was like, man, I got this check and I don't even need it. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I don't. And I made the video. I was like, I got this check. I don't even need it. This is the worst thing that they could have done. And people were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is going to cause hyperinflation.
Yep.
This right here, I was like, this little check is going to cause hyperinflation. And I remember people that I talked to at the time, they're like, man, you tripping. You always preaching, da-da-da. I was like, okay, whatever. So fast forward, look where we're at.
Yep.
In 2 years.
Printing more money than ever, I think they said, in the past like 50 or something.
Facts.
Right?
If you go
all of history compared to like the last 3-4 years,
facts.
way more.
And you know what happens to countries who do that? When I went to Walmart the other day, right? And I don't normally get like a hunger for Snickers, but I was like, I want a Snickers right now. I don't know why. So looked at the Snickers. I was like, rang it up, didn't even think about it. Rang it up, and I was like, $1.32. I was like, I remember when a Snickers bar was dang near 40 cents.
Wow, really?
Yes. And
I thought it had been like $1.
No, it was like 40 cents. I'm just saying. I remember because I used to be like, man, I wish I had 50 cents. like when I was growing up, I remember that. But that's like me and my brother, we used to be man, we was sporadic, man. Anyways, we used to, for summer school, it's funny. My mom would send us to the school and they would give us lunch money. The school would give us lunch money. So instead of like buying lunch, what we would do is we would just like keep the money and we would like save it. Right.
That's good.
Smart. I just remember we would do that. Even like when we would go door to door selling the candy and stuff like that, we would like oversell on the candy and then we would pocket the rest.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like we were doing that. So I remember like how much candy cost at that time because I remember doing it and being like in the game, I guess you could say, right? So I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, if you go to McDonald's right now, you can get, it's not gonna be a $1 menu, it's gonna be a $1.50 menu, right? Yeah. So I got two choices, right? I can get a burger that's about this big, or I can get a Snickers bar that's about this big.
Wow.
For dang near the same price.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? I was like, they are getting us.
Wow.
That's what inflation does. And people don't know because, again, it is a hidden tax. You don't notice it because you're doing the same thing that you've been doing for the past 20 years. And you don't understand. You're like, man, where's all my money going? Well, just look at that price tag. Look what's happening on your groceries.
And the changes are subtle, but they add up because it'll go from like $1 to like 104, right? 109, 115. And it's just
and it's not just 109 to you, because think about it like this, right? So back in the day, before you had self checkouts, you had time to process what you're about to do, because you're in a line, right? So you got I got this. Oh man, my bill's about to, I might not need these two things, right? Now you're in a line with self checkout. You don't want to be the jerk that's like taking all of his time in the self checkout, holding up the line. Right. Everybody around you is checking out pretty quickly. So you're just boop, 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 boop. All right, I need it. Boom, put my, credit card, swipe it, and you're leaving just like everybody else. Wow. So you don't even notice it until you need to notice it.
They're like, wait, hold on, this grocery bills.
Exactly.
This month.
Exactly. It's crazy. So like, it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's all psychological. They know it. They know that the average American isn't going to complain. It's if you ever read oh man, what am I 1986 1980, I think it's not the 1980. I think it's 1986, but it's not that one. Yeah, okay. It's oh my gosh, why am I forgetting this guy's name right now? Machiavelli. If you read Machiavelli's book, one of the things that he talks about, he's like, you can't force a citizenry to pay taxes, right? You can't, because they're gonna riot. Like American Revolution, right? They're gonna riot, right? Makes sense. He said, what you have to do is you have to you have to position it in a way that it seems like their idea and they accept it. Right.
Oh my God.
You got what I'm saying?
That's real control.
Real. He's
That's
like
real
the person
control.
who can do that is gonna kill the game ultimately. That's
Wow.
like, and it wasn't a like they talk about the nickname for the book, if I remember correctly, is like the Devil's Handbook. Like it was outlawed at one point in time, and he wasn't trying to say this is how governments can take control of citizenry. It was almost like a prophecy of like this is
what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
This is human nature.
Human nature. It was a
yeah.
human nature book.
Power always corrupts. So if you give someone this power and they have the ability to raise taxes,
Exactly.
control you, and you like one of the craziest things I ever heard is, okay, let's say someone, I forgot, maybe you told me, I don't remember who told me, but it was like, okay, let's say you are from a very, very wealthy family. Everything is taken care of. You're born, you get any color Ferrari you want. You got the mansion, you got the jet, you got everything from day one. And you live this life. What's the only thing that's going to matter to you? What would it be? Like if you have everything you ever want. As you grow up, you have, relationships with people. What's the thing that's going to you would ever only want? Power.
That's true.
Because if you have everything,
you can buy everything. You
have all the money for everything. What are you gonna eventually want? If you've always had money, you're just gonna want power, and that's
like George Soros calls himself God,
right? And that's like this is in the absence of God, obviously. So that's what's happening.
That's true.
That's Bill Gates.
That's what's happening in the world today.
Yeah.
It's happening in America.
That's probably people.
We're wrapping up on an hour and a half. Sika, any final thoughts? Any questions for Simi? We've been observing you and seeing what you're doing and the great things you're doing, man. It's inspiring, and appreciate you leading the way and being one of the flag carriers for the SOS organization.
Appreciate
any
it,
thoughts, Sika?
I really had two questions, man.
Sir.
So my first question is, it's funny because you worked for AWS, right?
Yeah.
And now you're a whole business owner. It's crazy. So what does it feel like for you? If you even have a feeling on this, for you to transition from, being employed, and maybe you answered this question already, but being employed to now you're actually running a business. Yeah. And then my last question is like, what's next for you?
I appreciate it, man. It's been a blessing. It's been a fun journey. God is good. The transition, we were talking about it, is just the fact that now you can have your hand on something that you create and built, and it's yours. No one can take that away from you. Right, all the things you guys are doing with building your business, going wide, doing the things that are necessary, no one can take that away from you. Right, no one can say, "Hey, you're not working hard enough." Right, even when I was at Amazon, the fact that someone could say, "Hey, man, you need to do this, the third," and I know that if I don't do it, they could let me go. No one can let me go here. It's me. I can't by myself, right?
What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, that'd be all right. So it's just the fact that you can own it, but more importantly, you can have more impact, more purpose behind it. The fact that you can actually go down, sit with a client, help them, plan a legacy for them and their family, their household, it brings a big joy and fulfillment, right? You're making an impact on solving a problem for that family that they originally had. Now you solved it. The second thing is now you're building a business, you're building people. Any business, successful business, is around people, right? That's distribution, and distribution is best through people. So the fact that now you're able to mentor, coach, lead, help inspire others that you're working with on a consistent basis on your team, it's phenomenal. And now not just being able to mentor them in the sense of finances, building a big business, but you can now point them to Christ. That's what it's really about. And I was telling him that through this business, you're able to use this as your ministry. For a long time, when I was building the business, I was in a dilemma. I said, you know what? Do I have to not be active in my church, serve? Because I was doing that a lot, doing those things. But then I'm like, wait, hold on. I got to build my business. I got to go wide. I got to, get clients. I got to do different things to build up my business. And I always felt the conviction, like, am I doing it the right way? But talking to Chris, talking to Pastor, Union Church, Pastor Stephen and Chandler, I was able to see like, oh, wow, this is my ministry. Me winning and being successful in business builds the church. My tithes have gone up tenfold. I'm like, wow, if I'm working at Amazon, I'm not able to tithe this much. I'm like, hold on. Like I tithe more than someone makes in a month. The average salary of an individual in America, I'm able to tithe that? That's not possible if I have a job. Just a job, right? And then the second is I'm able to be influential in my community. My peers around in school that I went to Towson with, people that I went to church with, the respect goes up. Like, oh, you're doing something and you're making an impact in your own way, and they see that, right? And that's the fulfillment. That's where you won't feel the rewards here, but it's going to be stored up for you in heaven. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. And that's super exciting to be a business owner. You get to really move and operate in your own capacity, and you get to really test your faith. Entrepreneurship is a test of your faith. Yeah, it's a journey. You got to correlation. A lot of correlation goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand because faith without works is dead.
Oh man,
mm-hmm. They're talking about the event.
About the event. Where
said, fear and
it's
faith.
Romans. Romans.
Oh yeah, it's the truth. Yeah,
it's like
they go hand in hand. Which one are you feeding? You're feeding either one or the other. You're feeding one or the other.
Paul talks about in his book Faith.
Yeah, he does.
He goes, there's a horse. One is fed fear. One is fed faith. Which one do you think wins?
Oh. 100%. It's whatever you're feeding it, whatever you're feeding. And the problem in our country, America, people are getting fed too much fear. Too much fear of, hey, you won't make it. Hey, you're not going to, if you start that business, you're going to fold. You're going to fail. Hey, if you take that chance, that risk, it's not going to work out for you. Hey, the economy, too much stacked up against the economy's doing horrible. What are you going to do? Oh, you're picking between, you got two evils, the devil you know, the devil you don't know. Two presidents, pick them. One party versus the other, right? Yeah, that's another problem, right? So much fear is being spoken into us, and then people are buying it, eating it up, watching the news, CNN, Fox, whatever news station you listen to, and people are not giving enough hope. We give hope to people. Winning big, being successful, you're able to inspire and give hope to people. That's what more people need. So just operating in a bigger faith, it forces you to really get your relationship with God tight, forces you to read your Bible, or forces you to grow and personally develop. It forces you to become better. And once you get better, what the problem is most people win, they get successful, and Pat talks about it, losing the favor of God. If you lose the favor of God, it's because you thought you were bigger than him and you got to where you're at because of yourself. So now realizing, hey, I didn't get here by myself. I got here because of him. He's blessed my efforts, and he can easily take it away, and I can fall flat on my face if I'm not careful, right? God will not bring the people on my team and my business for them to lead them if I'm not operating at the capacity that I need to steward them. Right.
Exactly.
And that's what it's about, man. So
and those right people to be in your life. If you want to lead a Chris Hart, if you want to lead a Curtis Eatman, a Matt Sapal, it's like you gotta work on yourself.
You gotta be on your A game.
You have to grow, or you plateau.
Oh,
you plateau if you don't.
Oh, it's not good.
Man, we were talking about this. It's not good. Like last week or 2 weeks ago, when it was like, man, what I love about this business is like you go through these ebbs and you go through these flows, right? And so when you're up, you're up. Yeah. You're like, oh man, I'm good. Yeah. But then you got to go to the next level. For you to get to the next level, you got to reinvent yourself. Oh, I'm kind of coming down here. Yeah. And you have to reinvent yourself. You have to grow. You have to develop, or else you're not going to be able to have the identity and the capacity to be able to like go to that next level. So you're constantly. You said it earlier about the competition. That's the one thing that I really enjoy about the competition. In it. That it does force you to grow because everybody else is growing around you. So then you have to ask yourself, are they better than me? You gotta ask like do they tie their shoes the same way? Do they put their shoes on
pants on the same way?
Exactly. Like you have to ask
look
yourself.
At in the mirror.
The answer is if the answer is no, then you're forced to go, I need to change. Right.
It's the biggest thing. I agree. Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you guys. And what's next? The next level for me is, again, like you just mentioned, reinvention. I realize that where I'm at now, it's just a starting point. It's just the tip of the iceberg. God has so much more that he's doing in all of our lives. And if we want to continue to get to that next level, elevate and grow, we have to become better leaders, have to reinvent ourselves, have to find a deeper resolve. It's all about the resolve. And it's crazy because the enemy's at work, guys. He's out there. He's seeking, looking at whom he can devour. The thing about it is the kingdom needs more men and women who want to come and fight for good morals, values, and principles, be successful in business, have the resources to push what we want, which are good things, not things of evil, but things that are only to glorify God. We need more people who are looking to win big and put on for our own legacy, but more importantly, the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to add on?
Oh, yeah, no, it's been fun, man. I appreciate y'all. The hospitality has been fun, man. Dallas is a blessing. This conference was amazing. It's changed my life more. It's my first one as now a full-fledged business owner, being a broker now. So it's been fun. It's been a level of new learning. This was my first conference looking at from a broker's perspective. And it's been a blessing just to see the journey. I know God is just getting started for each and every one of us, for all of you guys. And we're going to rerun it together for years to come. We're going to reflect, look back on it when we're doing big things like, hey, remember we did this? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm excited for what God has. And as long as we just keep being good stewards of the things that God has given us, the things that he's putting in our lives. Sky's the limit, and we're going to do it big. And more importantly, we're going to be in the history book. So that's what we want. We want to leave a legacy even after we're gone, that the ones that come behind us, they're able to see, wow, they're able to point to the places where we made an impact, and they're able to continually carry the torch. Because, PBD, he's gone. He's not gone, but, he stepped onto other things. He's left that for us in this industry. And as we continue, pass the torch, and we continue to do that, we're going to eventually get to that place. And we have to say, hey, we got to look back and say, did I maximize my capacity? And did I complete all the things that God wanted to accomplish in my life?
That's good.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Simisola.
Appreciate it, guys.
AMG. Appreciate
Absolutely,
you,
man. God bless. Yes, sir, man. Appreciate it, brother.